Hey everybody, we are starting chapter 2. Please be aware that in chapter 2 we are doing sections 1, 2, 3, and 5. We are skipping section 4, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started. So section 1 is called the addition property of equality. It's nothing too difficult, okay? I promise you'll be just fine. So the first thing they're going to ask you to do before we get into that addition property is to find solutions of equations, okay? So the first thing they're going to do is ask if a specific value is a solution to a problem, okay? So let's go ahead and start with that. So is 5 a solution to the equation 2x minus 3 equals 7. So is 5 a solution to 2x minus 3 equals 7? So this is the first thing they're going to ask you to do, okay? So all we're going to do is we're going to utilize substitution that we learned in the last chapter, and we're going to substitute 5 in for the value of x and see if the left-hand side of the equation is equal to the right-hand side of the equation, okay? So I have 2 times 5 minus 3 equals 7. Okay, so now that we substituted that value in, we're going to go ahead and solve. So 2 times 5 is 10, minus 3 is 7. So 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 equals 7. So this is good. So our answer is yes, 5 is a solution. Okay, so that would be your answer. It would actually be a yes or no answer, and for this one it's yes because 7 equals 7. Okay? All right, let's do another. So we want to know, is 4 a solution to 2x plus 3 equals 7? So is 4 a solution to 2x plus 3 equals 7? So what we need to do first is we need to substitute that 4 in for the x value. And remember, you'd use parentheses to substitute that value in. So if it's a negative number, you're including that negative. So this one's a positive 4, so that's fine. Now we're going to go ahead and solve. So order of operations, we're going to multiply. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 3 is 7. Then we're going to add 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 equals 7. Well, we know that's not a true statement. So if you recall, we've talked about this equal sign with a slash through it. That means not equal to. So our answer is no. 4 is not a solution, okay? So that's the first section of problems that they're going to ask you to do. Make sure if you need some extra examples, there are more in the notes that you can follow along with. Remember, you can always watch these videos repetitively as well, okay? They may word the problem different, but ask you to do the exact same thing. So they may say, are the following equations, this x plus 3 equals 9 and x equals 6 equivalent? So they could ask you, are the following equations x plus 3 equals 9 and x equals 6 equivalent? It's the exact same thing. We're going to be substituting the x equals 6 in for the x value, and x plus 3 equals 9. Okay? So we have our x plus 3 equals 9, and we're going to go ahead and substitute the 6 in for the x. So now I'm going to add 6 plus 3 is 9. So 9 equals 9. So yes, they are equivalent. Okay? So they may word it this way. It's telling you to do the exact same thing. You're just substituting that into the equation and solving. Okay? Like I said, there's more examples of that. We've already dealt with substitution, okay, in the last chapter, in the last test. But like I said, if you do need additional help, please let me know. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this addition property of equality. So now we're getting into solving equations for unknown variables. Okay, so we haven't done that yet. That's what we're getting into now, and this chapter breaks it down step by step. Okay, so this addition property of equality, all it means is that you're going to be adding the same number to both sides of the equation, and it's not going to change the solution set, so it's not going to change the answer. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this out. So they're going to tell you to solve the equation for x. Solve the equation for x. And they're going to give you an equation like x minus 5 equals 12, okay? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be solving for the variable, whatever the variable may be. In this problem, it's x. To do that, we are going to move everything that is not an x, that's not a variable, onto the other side of the equal sign. Now to do this, we must perform the opposite operations, okay? So here, this is subtracting 5. So the opposite of subtraction would be addition. So now we're going to add 5. Now what you need to keep in mind is what you do to one side of the equal sign, you must do to both. It like keeps it balanced, okay? So you need to add 5 to both sides of the equal sign. Excuse me. So now we're going to bring down our x. And if you notice, negative 5 plus 5 cancels and becomes 0. That's what we want. We're going to bring down our equal sign. And then we're going to go ahead and solve the right-hand side of the equal sign, which is 12 plus 5 is 17. So x is 17. Now, if you wanted to check your answer and make sure you're correct, so if you're one that likes to go back through and check your work, to see if this is correct, you're going to substitute in the x value, the 17, into the original equation. So that would be 17 minus 5 is 12. So you're going to go ahead and subtract. 17 minus 5 is 12. 12 is 12. So yes, you did the problem correct, and 17 is your answer. Okay, so it's just a way you can kind of check yourself. All right. Let's do another. Let's go ahead and do x minus 3 equals 10, and we're still solving the equation for x. So I want the x by itself on the left-hand side of the equation. I want to move the negative 3 over to the right-hand side of the equal sign. To do this, we use the opposite operation. So this is subtracting 3. The opposite would be adding 3. What I do to one side, I must do to both. Okay? So now I'm going to bring down the x. Negative 3 plus 3 cancels and becomes 0. Bring down the equal sign. Now we're going to solve. 10 plus 3 is 13. So our final answer is 13 if you want to check. Substitute 13 in for x. 13 minus 3 gives you 10. 10 is 10, so yes, you did the problem correct. Okay. So that is the addition property, okay? Nothing too difficult there. Let's go ahead and do one that we need to do a little bit more work. So we're still solving the equation. Let's still do it for x. And let's do 5 times the quantity of 3x minus 4 minus 14x equals 25. So let's solve this for x. So as you can see, we have a little bit of work to do. What you are going to do is you are going to follow the order of operations. So we're starting with parentheses. I can't do anything inside the parentheses. We look out front. I have a 5 that I can distribute. That's going to be our next step. So now we're doing 5 times 3x is 15x. I have 5 times negative 4, well that's negative 20, minus 14x equals 25. Now we can go ahead and combine like terms. I have a 15x minus a 14x. That leaves me with 1x minus 20 equals 25. Remember, you don't have to write that 1. You don't have to, but just so you know, that was a 1. Now we can apply the addition property because we need to move the negative 20 over. So we're going to add 20 on both sides. We're going to bring down the x. Negative 20 plus 20 is 0. Bring down the equal sign and go ahead and add 25 and 20 to get 45. And like I said, if you want to check your answer, plug 45 back into the original. Okay? So that is the addition property. So they also give you in this section the subtraction property of equality, so you can guess that we're going to be subtracting instead of adding. So you're still using the same process of solving for the unknown variable using the opposite operation to move that number over. So let's go ahead and do 2.7 plus x equals 8.1, okay? So they could rearrange these problems and put them in a different order, and that's okay. I still have an x on the left-hand side that I want to isolate. I want to get it by itself. And to do that, we need to do the opposite operation to move that 2.7 over to the right-hand side of the equal sign. This is a positive 2.7, so the opposite of positive would be negative. So we're going to subtract 2.7, same thing as the addition property. What we do to one side, we must do to the other. So 2.7 minus 2.7 becomes 0. We're going to bring down our x equals. Now we have 8.1 minus 2.7 gives us a positive 5.4. And it's the same thing as the last set of problems. Plug that into x and check your work. So 2.7 plus 5.4 does equal 8.1. Okay, so you can go ahead and check yourself that way. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead, let's do this one. Let's do negative 2x plus 3 plus 3x equals 6 plus 8. So this one has a smidge more work, not a ton. The first thing we're going to notice is we're going to need to combine like terms before we can start moving anything around. Okay, so right here I see that I have a negative 2x plus a 3x on the left-hand side of the equal sign. So negative 2x plus 3x is a positive 1x. I still have my plus 3 equals, and if you look here, I have 6 plus 8 that I can go ahead and combine to get 14, okay? Now I'm set up to use our subtraction property because I have a plus 3 that I need to move to the right-hand side. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 3 on both sides. Bring down the x. 3 minus 3 cancels and becomes 0. Bring down the equal sign. And now I have 14 minus 3, which gives us 11. Okay, so I hope that makes a little bit more sense. Okay, I hope that helps a little. We're going to be getting into more difficult problems here when we start combining multiplication and division as well, but I promise it's nothing that you can't handle. This is all I'm going to do for this first section. It was pretty basic section, nothing too difficult. If you need extra help, I do have more resources online, extra videos that you can look up if you play along on the tabs, and look in the modules at the top. There's extra resources. Plus, please don't hesitate to message me. All right, thanks guys.